Hi friends, welcome to the Artist Blend.
Today we are going to talk about the world of visual arts.
So grab your mug.
And let's get talking. This is our first episode. That's crazy. This is weird right now. It just feels like two guys on a screen, and this isn't real.
We used to talk every day, and now we live in completely different states. So we're used to talking to each other in screens, but now we're like, we have to structurally talk.
Yeah, we have to talk. I was going to say talk smart. It said tark smalt. Tark smalt. This is episode 1, everybody. Wow, I'm a natural. Today, we are drinking a coffee that we'll tell you more about later, but it is the Carver Coffee. Mm-hmm. The Carver Company, Carver
Coffee and Tea is what they're...
Carver Coffee and Teas. I got this from a farmer's market in Celebration, Florida. I met the Carvers. They are lovely humans, and... I don't want to spoil it, but I think they have a lovely coffee too. But we'll give it our full thoughts at the end.
We'll let it sit.
Yeah, we'll let it sit,
if you will. We'll brew over it
we'll brew. We'll brew over it. Okay, cool.
So for anyone who does not like puns, leave now.
Oh, get out. This is not your kind of podcast. Get out.
Not sorry.
I mean, I'd love for you to stay, but you won't like it.
Yeah. You'll just be like, why are they? Okay, great.
Okay, so talking about visual arts, obviously we are both people of the theater and live performance sort of thing, so visual arts and museums and that sort of thing is not really our forte, but that's the whole point of this podcast, is for us to get a blend of artistry in our lives. The Artist Blend.
Yes.
TM. So let's, I guess, start, like, what was your experience growing up with visual arts?
So my visual art experience growing up, as we all did, the macaroni in like elementary school, like that was the first experience. I mean, yes, it's true. We all like, hi mom, here you go. This is great. Yeah. And they're like, this is not going on the fridge. But my parents used to take me to the Frist when I was really little, which, if for those of you who are not Nashvilleian like myself in Tennessee, the Frist is I would say the biggest art museum that Tennessee has. But they have many, many different displays and different artists on display that go through. But when I was really little, I really didn't get it. And I just kind of was bored and didn't really understand it. But now that I'm an adult, I still go back to the Frist. I also go to Cheekwood Estates and Garden.
Ooh, I love Cheekwood.
Right? I do too. Yeah. I go there now with my fiance, which is actually where I proposed to her.
Fiance, you're fianced.
I am fianced, betrothed, intended.
You're fianced.
But they have a wonderful art exhibit up in the upstairs in the mansion, and it's really, really cool to go through. And as an adult, what I really like going through museums is basically interpreting what I feel from a painting or a piece of work and seeing what the artist called it. And trying not to necessarily figure out the artist, but figure out what they felt in the moment when they were painting, potentially. And I'm not one of those people who's like, yes, this painting has 43 brushstrokes, and therefore they were depressed that day. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
who knows? I mean, those people are out there, though, and they are. Kudos to them. I don't understand.
I'm like, how can you even tell? I just
maybe one day we'll have some fancy, really high-class artist come on here and tell us.
Maybe.
They'll be like, remember that first episode where you insulted my kind? Oh, I'm so sorry. We just don't understand. We want to understand.
It's the equivalent of Ratatouille's food critic. He's just like,
oh my gosh, yes. Anton Ego.
Yes, Ego.
Yes. I had a similar experience growing up. I was super into visual arts. I thought I was going to be an artist. A different kind of artist. But I thought I was going to be a painter. I really wanted to paint. Cool. And I did all the art classes, and I fully was expecting to be an artist.
Nice.
Particularly paint. I loved, as I got like in middle school, I was doing sort of impressionist stuff. I wanted to do abstract things, like the weird cool lines and stuff. And then I just wound up doing things that I love to do, but with a weird style, which then became Impressionism.
Yeah.
But I was super fascinated with Van Gogh growing up. I love Starry Night. We had, I think it was in elementary school. We had an assignment where we had to recreate the Starry Night, or like, I think maybe it was like any Van Gogh painting, but I remember I recreated Starry Night. And then on a trip to DC in 5th grade with my school, literally my favorite painting, and I am sitting here not thinking of the name.
Is it Van Gogh's?
Yes, it's Van Gogh's. It's the cafe at night.
Oh yes,
I think that's literally what it's called,
Yep.
but in French. Yep. That one, it's my
Yep.
favorite. Just like the way he used light to just fill in this empty, dark space, but only with blues and yellow. Like that's it.
Yeah.
But you gorgeous. Yeah. Oh, I loved it. I love how he sees light.
Yes,
That's always been my favorite thing about him.
I love Van Gogh as well. I, for whatever reason, am drawn more to Monet, which I think as Monet is like Van Gogh's cousin. Is how.
Did you see Monet when it was at the Frist?
I didn't get to see it. I was
so
upset.
Cool. It was beautiful.
I know, but I like Monet's subtleness. It was actually I was recently in. Was it New York? Yeah, it was New York. I went through one of the museums that's in New York. I think the museum that's in New York. But we went through. Yeah, the Met. I went to the Met. Thank you.
Yeah.
We went through and we saw some Picasso. Yeah, we saw some Picasso, and I found it hysterical that Picasso literally named his paintings like I would describe a picture. It'd be like pot, bowl, plant, and that's all that is. Like it's yep, that's exactly what it
Correct.
is. Correct. Yeah,
you did it,
and I love it. But I too love how artists can literally fill a flat 2-dimensional space with so much light and so much life and depth and feeling. Because, I mean, when you get to thinking about, like, books or paintings or things like that, they're flat, 2-dimensional things. But they paint such vast worlds within them.
Yeah, whether it's words or whether it's colors and textures.
Exactly.
And yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
But
it's a world that I feel like that's a world that neither of us fully understand, but we both fully appreciate. Obviously, any visual artist that's listening right now is like, yeah, you definitely don't understand, and that's fine because we are here to learn and to grow, and that's great. But I think we both appreciate it. And you did not do the Van Gogh experience, right?
I did not get to, no, but I know you did.
Okay,
so I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yes, absolutely. That was one thing I wanted to talk about in particular. So, obviously, me and my wife, Elizabeth, we both love Van Gogh. And so, one day we were like, the Facebook ads, and it was like the 20,000th time that I had seen the Van Gogh ad. Yeah, and it worked! I gotta say, it worked. And so we got tickets, and we had heard super mixed reviews. We'd heard, like, this is the best thing that ever has happened to art, ever. And then we've heard, like, this is literal trash, it's a waste of money, don't go. So we were hopeful. We were a little nervous, but we went and we had a blast. It was you walk in and it looks like it's just this giant gift shop, which like makes sense. You're gonna sell all the merch you can, but there was this right when you walked in, there was this giant sunflower. Huge, with petals falling everywhere on the floor, on the walls. It wasn't actually falling, but it was.
Was it projections?
It was gorgeous. There were some projections. It was mainly sculpture. Okay. But I think there was some lighting elements too. Nice. There were gorgeous lights everywhere. They had some really cool lighting designers. But then you walk through and you see like biography on the walls and just kind of his life story, literal timeline on a really, really long wall. Yeah. And it also had the paintings attached to that timeline. Cool. So you could see in his life what he was experiencing and then how it was reflected in art he was creating at the time, which I really appreciated. As a layman, I was like, that's a wonderful way to show somebody progression and style and growth and all that. And then we'd like turn the corner and like go, meat lockers, they have the really tall, like plastic thick things you have to like walk through. So it was essentially one of those. And I was like, well, are we about to die? Are we about to get murdered right now? It felt like a haunted house. but we walk through. But Van Gogh, yes.
I know he's gonna get you
exactly with his paintbrush.
Death by sunflower.
I mean, he did go crazy. That might be a cool haunted house concept. Wait, how cool! Like disorienting, all the swirling colors and lights and dark.
Could you imagine if you did a Van Gogh and Picasso haunted house? Like,
that's
things
amazing.
Are just like morphed.
Things are morphed and bad, and that's amazing.
What's the TV show that people talk about all the time? That's a haunted. It's like a continuous haunted season, but every
American
season
Horror Story.
Yes, it feels like a American Horror Story season. It's like visual
that's
art,
cool.
but twisted.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Like Night of the Museum R.
Yeah, somebody write that down. Somebody get that
done.
Please contact
Yeah.
us.
So anyway, we walked through the meat locker thing, thinking we're gonna die, and I think we walk in at the end of this like 30-minute loop, and so it's just colors everywhere and bursting light and music and this full orchestra, and we're like sensory overload, and then it all goes black, and we're like, what? And then credits play, and we're like, okay, I think we chose a bad time to walk in. Yeah. So we just start walking around, but it's playing on every wall, every ceiling, every floor, everywhere. It's a loop of this like 30 to 35 minute show. And it's the paintings coming to life. It's the sunflowers growing in the field, and it's his the bedroom that he draws. It starts with like just lines and then shapes and colors, and it's his entire catalog with life breathed into it.
Yeah,
it's really, really cool. And one thing I found out on the way out is that David Correns, who is my all-time favorite scenic designer, he designed Dear Evan Hansen's set. He did the set for Hamilton. He did all these incredible things. He did Beetlejuice, which the projections in that. Crazy.
I almost got to see it, but I didn't have $900 for a ticket. The closing
especially once they announced they closed. Yeah,
and then Alex was back. I was like, I'm no way.
No,
$10,000. Alex, like I know him. Yeah, Alex couldn't show up that night. So
Al, my friend Al.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please cast us in the tour. Thank you.
Sorry, I do not have ventricular folds.
Yeah, it's okay. Neither do
I.
Understand.
But yeah, so but David. Was like one of the head designers for the Van Gogh Experience. And during, I found out, I talked about it with a friend, and afterwards I found out from her that so many Broadway designers, scenic, lighting, everywhere, everything, were involved with the Van Gogh Experience because during COVID they didn't have anything else to do. And so they all collaborated on this really cool project, which I thought was great. And the credits were rolling, and I was like, David Correns? I love David Correns.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, it was great. And one thing I learned afterward is that there were actually two different tours going on. So there was the main one that we saw, and then there was, I guess exhibitions would be the proper word. But there was a smaller scale, smaller budget, slightly morphed version of the experience, and that was the one that was getting all the bad reviews, from what I understand. And I think that's why it was such a weird experience for some people and amazing for others. But we loved it. We stayed for like 2 cycles of it, and then, which was only like an hour, but I felt like it was worth it because we got to sit. There's so many different places to sit and look and experience it from. But yeah, and then we like milled around. There was like some cool statues and it was like it was his self-portrait.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Like the one. And it was not the one where he had his ear cut off. It was a different one. But it was that in 3D sculpture form. So it was coming out of the frame. That's cool. And it was really cool. So other things that we saw. But it was like an hour and a half to 2 hour time that we spent there, and we loved it. It was great.
Nice. And it's funny that you put the timeline on there of an hour and a half to 2 hours. Because me and my fiance, we've been to the Frist, and we were like, about how long does it take to go through this exhibit? And they're like, oh, maybe an hour. We were there for 4 hours.
4?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So, partly it's because we stand at every painting and are just like, do you see this? What do you see? Because, I equate it to when we were kids looking at clouds and just trying to say, oh, that looks like a turtle. No, it looks like this. But we really appreciate it. You were talking about the Van Gogh experience, and I know that Disney is releasing an animation one that's the same experience, but it's Disney animation, and it's coming here to Nashville.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, it's Van Gogh's work?
No. It's like Disney, like original artistry and everything like that.
Yes. I'm backing away because I'm screaming. Yes, I saw this. I saw an ad for this, and I am so excited.
It's very exciting.
Yeah. That's so cool.
They're also, I was in New York, and they were advertising it in the taxis, which also, that was my first time going to New York and taking a taxi, so it was very interesting to me watching an ad while you're in the back of a car. I was like, what is this? It's like a moving TV. I don't know. They've made a Monet experience just like Van Gogh's. So I'm hoping, because it's starting in London, I think, right now. And then it will probably, it's kind of like the West End with theater. They'll be like, oh, we're starting it here. And then we'll send it to Broadway. And we'll see how that goes, because we both know how that can happen sometimes. But anyways, that's a different story. Never mind. Yeah. Anyway. So that's quite exciting, and also kind of cool, because the public museums, in a way, are not as in with modern generations and things like that. Like, everyone still goes, and they're still open, which is great.
It's a requirement for a lot of people.
Correct. And kids don't see it as enjoyable, because it's like, oh, it's a museum. But the people who do love it, and that's wonderful. But this is a way to experience art on a different, because I didn't know about the timeline thing. I think that's really, really cool, because personally, I like to try and imagine what they might have been going through. So to know what was happening in his life when he painted this would have made so much more sense, and or been like, oh wow, that's really cool to see this within this painting. So I love it. And also I knew about the collaboration with many Broadway artists and just artists in general during the pandemic in 2020 because of creating that. And also just what a cool project to sort of create from nothing.
Yeah. And I feel like part of the reason it was so successful is because as we're getting to a time where everything is in your face in 12 different formats all the time. Yeah. It's sort of like what's happening with libraries. Like, they are becoming obsolete because we have so many different options for entertainment and Google and other things that are slowly making them obsolete. And so culture it's great to see culture fighting back to take back libraries, but I
was so afraid that was going to happen.
You looked like Gaston in that moment. You raised the eyebrows and the chin was
oh yes.
I thought, wow, that was hilarious.
One sneeze like Gaston, no way.
Oh my God. I will take a snapshot of that, and that's going to be the picture for this episode. Is a meme, and it's no one sneezes like Gaston.
But your question mark of what's happening?
I was like, oh my God, what is going on? Yes, libraries and things. And, but I feel like these immersive experiences are a really cool way to introduce the youth. Yes. But also just keep everybody, not just young people, but everyone engaged in art. And yes, it would be ideal for us to not have to to not have to compensate for a change and shift in a lack of attention span and being able to just walk around museums for 4 hours. But I feel like it's a really cool compromise to expose people to art, while also still making it this really interesting interactive experience that they wouldn't have otherwise.
Absolutely.
I think it's a nice extension of the art world into the normal public world.
It's like you were talking about with short attention spans. Going back to my New York story, which I'm just touching on for a second. When I was in the cab, the TV that was in the cab, I found myself watching it instead of looking around at this beautiful city and all the different things that I could see. And I felt like, oh, I can't do that. But it goes back to what one of our professors always talked about, is the moment you introduce a screen, be it in a room, on a stage, or anything like that, a lot of people nowadays, their attention goes to that. But I based off your description of the Van Gogh experience or any future exhibits in that fashion, is you're forced to look at the screen because that's all there is to look at. But it's more fascinating than just flashy lights and buy this product and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah, it's really cool. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice little Van Gogh thought. the last thing, well, we talked about the I could have made that syndrome.
Yeah.
Of everyone being like, I can make that. It's just,
yeah.
I feel like the big thing with that we talked about before we hit record today was just like a lot of people think that they can slap some red paint on a thing and draw a white box and that's it, and I'll sell it for $2 million.
Nope.
And yeah,
and they can't, and that goes to like, you could attain that to anything, in my opinion, because if you see somebody playing piano, I could do that. Sure, if you worked for 12 years just like that person did, you could do that. But we have mindsets sometimes as individuals to be like, that looks easy, I could do that. Well, it's not. You could do that. Yeah, I fully believe that you could, but no.
Yeah, there was this video I watched that was breaking down that whole mindset of I can do that art, and it was like, I don't know, it was like 10 minutes, but it was really cool because it was just like, let's talk about what you can do. Can you study textures of different brush strokes to decide what best reflects the right kind of shadow and gives you the for this type of red and this type of setting with this type of lighting with this type of canvas and all this stuff? No. Well, yes, you can. Yes, you can do anything.
Yes.
But you cannot do it just as you are right now. Walk on the street and just do that. No.
Just like you and I could step onto a show with 24 hours prep if we had to, because of our training. But other people are like, I can't even talk in front of my family. Like, I don't know. It's that I agree with the mindset of I could do that. I could make that art. That's a good title too. We should have them make our podcast episodes. But
it's like our podcast cover art as like stripped down. I could make that art.
I could make that art.
I like that.
We'll have a submission where people can send us what they think our logo should be, right? That's cool.
Wait, that's fun.
We'll have a contest maybe and be like, hey,
we'll like a contest for like merch and like put it on sweatshirts and stuff.
I like that. So
also, if you want merch, let us know, because like we don't know what we want yet. We'll make something, and send us designs and things,
please. We will actually really, really want to interact with you guys, because we're both community-minded people. Especially Easton and his wife right now, being in Florida the way they're part of a big community, and I'm part of a community of my own standing here in Nashville, Tennessee. But we want to hear from you guys. We want to know whether you like us and what we should do different if we're laughing.
I'm an Enneagram 3. I need to know if you like me.
I'm Enneagram 9, so we're all just bouncing off of each other. So it's all good.
Yeah.
So you're a 2-3-1, right? Or a 3-wing?
I'm a 3-wing 4.
Oh, okay, the other way. Yeah, I'm a 9-wing.
Yeah, I thought I was a wing 2, and then over time I was like, oh wait, I am definitely a wing 4. To close us out, who is your favorite artist?
My favorite artist is like currently or old.
Whatever that question means to you.
I'm gonna stick with Monet just because I could stare at his paintings for a very long time. So I like that. I know yours. Yours is Van Gogh. So
mine, I feel like it's him or Seurat, or Seurat.
I always forget about Seurat.
Yeah, for my musical theater peeps, Georges Seurat, Sunday in the Park with Georges Seurat.
What's his name?
Beowulf,
not Wolfbane.
Beowulf.
Good. Yeah,
he's incredible. Yeah. But with Seurat, like we did, going back to elementary school, we had like a little assignment where we had to draw a pair, we had to create a pair with pointillism, all the little dots put together, and we had like one yellow and one green marker, and that was it. So we had to create this gradient and create the effect of shadows and light and texture from just the two colors. And I was fascinated with that. And then when I got into the theater world and I watched Sunday in the Park with George, the OG recording with Bernadette and Mandy and all them, I was just blown away. And then that took me back to elementary school, and I was like, wait, you're telling me that this man created an entire style of what is it? I have it in my notes right here. Chromoluminarism. Chromoluminarism.
All right, don't hurt
yourself, kid. Chromolume.
I always tell, so I'm not going to get into it, but I wasn't in the same program as Easton as long as he was. I have full confidence that if I was, I might have turned into more on the design side with classes and things like that. But well, anyways, let's wrap up this episode, shall we?
Yeah. let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up.
The coffee.
The
coffee. It was really good. I loved it.
I'm
not gonna lie. I had a sample of it at the farmer's market. Mr. Carver gave me a sample. I know. We're supposed to try it on here, but it was great, and it is just as good with my pour over setup, freshly brewed, freshly ground than it is.
What
there.
I like is the richness of not only the smell of the beans was really, really rich. I liked it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But it has. I'm probably using all the words. I'm like, yes, it has depth. I don't know. Coffee people are like, what is he talking about?
Oh yes, that's another thing we want to do is we want to become coffee snobs.
Yes.
Through the course of this podcast,
but also humble
snobs, but
like,
humble snobs.
We don't do that. Humble snobs. It's a
I do want to not slowly. I don't want to drink ground coffee from the store anymore. I want to grind my own coffee now. From now on, and I had like a couple bags, and I was waiting to do. I couldn't use the whole beans until this podcast. So now that I have them and can continue to use the Carver's Kilimanjaro blend, I will do it.
Yes, every morning.
Yeah. Good
and
coffee.
It's actually kind of I find it a therapeutic experience to be roasting.
Yeah,
or not roasting, but
nice.
To pour over. It's like, okay, I have to wait here for 5 minutes. So it forces me to slow down in the morning.
It's a nice
instead
routine.
Instead of being like, I gotta run, as we all do in this busy, busy world. But yeah.
So if you want some, you can use our referral link that's going to be in the show notes. Or you can just use a coupon code, The Artist's Blend, for 10% off, which is awesome.
Amazing.
It's The Artist's Blend, so The ARTISTS Blend.
Yes, and you definitely want to check them out. They're great people, great company, great coffee. And just like you guys, they're good beans. So we should go and support them. So definitely check out that link.
Drink these good beans, everybody.
Drink them, everyone. Do it now.
Yeah, he said that this year, 2023, is their 10th year.
Small business support. We love it.
Yeah!
Let us know what you guys think. Be sure to review us anywhere that you find this podcast, because we're sending it into the ether, and we want to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
You can find us.
We don't know what we're doing.
I know we don't at the moment, but we'll get there.
We're trying.
We'll get there.
We're learning.
Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like. If you want one of us to talk and not the other, well, that's hard. But okay.
Yeah, shut up, Easton. I like Austin's voice better.
No.
It sounds like Robin Williams.
A lot of people say that. It's okay.
Yes.
But you can find us on Instagram at The Artist's Blend. That's The Artist's Blend. And you can also find us on TikTok. And we have a YouTube as well. So look for us. Go ahead.
If you are listening to this on an audio place like Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or whatever, and you like to have video in your life, we're on YouTube. And if vice versa, if you're watching this on YouTube, hey, we'll give a little wave.
Yeah, you get
listen
to see
to
the real
us.
show.
Yeah, you get to, all the facial expressions and stuff. We're lively.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you prefer video, we got YouTube. If you like audio, stay where you're at. That's fine too.
But on that note, not only do we want to drink better coffee, but we would like to end every episode with the following phrase. So this is the first time that we're doing it, but I'm going to say it, and it's going to be great. So be good beans and drink good beans, everybody. It's going to be good.
Yes. Yeah. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Bye, guys.
Bye. The Artist's Blend theme music was written and produced by Christopher and Sarah Bailey of Well Wishes Productions, a Nashville-based boutique production company specializing in multimedia production, live event contracting, studio, and live vocals. Find Incognita's infamous adventures on Amazon Prime and its soundtrack on all digital platforms.